Hi, it's Robbie from Chatting Tracks. We've got a special episode today. We're in the amazing Sevenoaks in Knole Park with the amazing Ian Hooper, Beatles historian and legend. Ian, why am I in this park today? Why are the Beatles in this park?
So the Beatles visited Knole Park in January and February 1967 to make promotional films for their double A-side single Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields.
So you're going to show us some amazing sites. You're going to show us some places where they filmed some of the Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields video. Super excited. I can't wait. Let's do it.
Chatting Tracks. Let's talk music.
Ian's going to show us something amazing. Now, it's just a tree stump, and it's not even a full tree. But why is this so important?
Well, for those that are familiar with it, this is where they filmed pretty much all of the Strawberry Fields promotional film. You might be familiar with this image, which shows them standing in front of, what was a tree at that point. Unfortunately, this is all that's left of that now is this stump, but it was nearly 60 years ago, so we'll forgive it. It's been difficult to prove that this was the stump, but we've spent a lot of time matching up the background so you can see the road in the background where the Mini drives past in the video. That spruce tree, or Scots pine I'm told it might be, which you can see coming out of Paul's head in this picture here. The gully between the fields and the brow of those fields all line up with this location. That doesn't prove that this is the tree, but what we also did is a friend of mine, Andrew Mason, got an aerial photograph of this area from 1946. So we know the tree was in this area. He lined up precisely using Google Earth where this stump is. And lo and behold, on that aerial photo, there is a tree. And there are no other trees around here. You can't see any evidence today.
That's true, yeah.
And in 1946, that was the only mature tree in this area. So we think that's conclusive proof that this is definitely the tree stump. What
do you think happened to the tree over the years? Do you think people had stolen bits of it? Did it fall down? Did it just get...
So I'm told that it did get damaged in the storms of 87. If you recall, there was a lot of damage in this area when we had the hurricane. We lost the Sevenoaks. Well, we actually lost 6 of the Sevenoaks on the vine in Sevenoaks. They've planted now 7 saplings, so we're actually now should be called 8 oaks. But apparently this was also damaged during the storm, and I think they eventually had to chop it down.
Did they sell parts of the tree as Beatles memorabilia, or was it kind of just throw it in the bin and burn it?
I think no one was particularly interested. I don't know where it's ended up. There is a trunk lying over there, which could possibly be it, but I'm not sure they would have transported it. It's possible that
just
could
dumped
have
it. Yeah. Are they looking to maybe protect this tree from Beatles fans that might want to take a bit of a home?
Well, no, I think at the moment it's protected by obscurity because very few people know where it is. And some people have asked, well, should you be advertising it? I run the Beatles in Kent website, and there's a page on there which helps you identify where this is on the Sevenoaks page. And it is a concern that more people could come here and it could get damaged. But I think it's such an important piece of history. I think it's right that people should know where it is, and we have to rely on people's good nature not to damage it and chip bits off of it.
That said, I'm going to get my saw.
If you watch the film on YouTube for Strawberry Fields, you'll see that it's quite a surreal film. Very abstract, and what they did is they had an old beaten up piano and they had strings going up into the tree, which is quite surreal in itself. And the reason for that was that Klaus Voormann, who is their friend from the Hamburg days and designed the Revolver album, of course, so he said that the song sounded like it was played on some sort of strange instrument. So Tony Bramwell, who was the producer of the film, he spent a few days before they arrived here with this old piano and the strings, and he produced what he calls a piano and harp combined.
We call it nuts, they call it music. So we're still in Knole Park, we're by this amazing archway. Ian, why is this so significant?
So this is the Birdhouse in Knole Park. And this appears in the Penny Lane promotional film, which they shot here on the 7th of February 1967. So you see all 4 of the Beatles on, I think they're on white horses, They come out of the away from the birdhouse through this arch, and they gallop round and then off round the side of the wall over there. The Penny Lane video itself has another shot, or a couple of other shots, which I can show you the location for those in a moment. But it also has some video of Penny Lane itself, which is a bus terminus between Paul and John's home. So it holds a lot of memories for them from their childhood. And it also has some street scenes shot in Stratford in East London and on the King's Road.
We just had a fantastic trek through the park and we found this amazing pond. What's so important about the pond?
So in the Penny Lane promotional film, you'll see that they arrive on their horses at a table laid out by the side of the pond. It's laid out for tea, and some footmen serve them some tea and deliver their instruments to them. And they're sat in front of this as part of that film. What that has to do with Penny Lane, I've no idea, but hey, it was the 60s.
And then then they throw the table over and walk off like true rock stars.
That's right, they do. And there's a nice little anecdote. I should give a plug here for the National Trust's Knole Stories website. They've got lots of little interviews and things with the Sackville West family who live in Knole House, and people who lived in the Birdhouse, etc. And there's a really nice interview with Margaret Bevan, who lived in the Birdhouse at the time. And she said that they asked if they could borrow a tea service. And they laid the tea service out on the table here when they were waiting for the filming to start, etc. And they tried to do a magic trick where they pull the tablecloth from underneath. And apparently, when they did that, all the cups and saucers went flying into the pond, and they never recovered them. So they might still be in there.
Right, see ya. That's amazing. But it's obviously overgrown now. It looks completely different as it did in the day. But this is definitely the right pond, because you looked at two ponds, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a larger pond up there, but that's much more sunken and lower. You can see on the video that they're almost level with the pond, like we are here. Obviously, there's some growth here now. So these trees, I don't think were here. This is 60 years ago, so it's obviously changed a little bit. I think they were probably looking in this direction here, because you can't see the gardener's wall in the background on the actual film, but there are some films of them, photos of them filming, where you can see that wall, so we know it was here.
So we're in the High Street. We've got to be honest, it's a bit noisy, but what High Street isn't? Ian, this building, tell us about this building.
So this building is empty at the moment, but it used to belong to an antique dealer called A.A. Mayer, I think his name was. Don't quote me on that. And they were having a lunch break, and I think it was on the 7th of February when they were doing filming the Penny Lane scenes. They came onto the High Street and walked. They were going to a restaurant which is about 3 doors along from here, which was called the Top of the Hill Restaurant. Again, it's an empty building now. And an interesting fact about that, which I'll tell you afterwards. But on the way there, John stopped into this antique shop, and he bought. This is a copy, not the real thing. This copy. This is a copy of the poster that he bought. It's a Victorian circus poster advertising Pablo Fanke's Circus Royal. So Pablo Fanke was the first non-white circus proprietor in the country, and he toured. It wasn't here, this was in Rochdale, this poster was for. And the reason this is important is that John, he was inspired by, you could say, charitably, but actually lifted most of the lyrics for being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, which is the closing song on side one of Sgt. Pepper. So the inspiration for that came from this poster, which he bought in this shop in Sevenoaks. So it's a little noisy, but this is the Top of the Hill restaurant where they had lunch that day. The interesting little factoid for you is that they were joined by Mickey Lenz from the Monkees. So he had lunch with the Beatles in this restaurant.
No way.
Yeah.
We're outside a fantastic looking pub, which we're going to go into in a minute. Ian, what's the significance of the pub?
So this is the Oak Tavern and Tap House, but in the 60s it was called Blys Hotel. And I have a copy here of the call sheet from the filming on the 30th of January. So a call sheet is basically an agenda for all of the cast and crew, so they know what they're doing. And one of the things it lists on here is that Blys Hotel, which it says there, was booked as a changing room. So they had a room booked in there for changing. I've got no evidence that they stayed overnight in Sevenoaks because they lived so close. They only lived in Surrey and London, so I'm pretty sure they went home in the evening after filming. But they did use that as a changing room.
And what's the connection between Stuart, Sutcliffe and Sevenoaks?
So Stuart Sutcliffe, as some of your knowledgeable viewers will know, was the original bass player of the Beatles in their Hamburg days when they were the Fab Five instead of the Fab Four, with Pete Best on drums and Stuart Sutcliffe on bass. Stuart sadly died after he left the Beatles to study modern art with Eduardo Paolazzo in Hamburg. He was living with his fiancée at the time, Astrid Kircher. So he died of a brain hemorrhage shortly after leaving the Beatles, which is very sad. But the connection is that his mother actually moved to Sevenoaks. So she lived in about 3 different addresses in Sevenoaks. And she was very proud of the modern art that he produced, and she used to put on exhibitions of Stuart's work in and around the town.
I mean, I bet they're worth a pretty penny now. I wouldn't mind one of those. Hang on. Anyway, the pub's calling. Should we do it?
Yep.
We had to end this video back in Knole Park. It's the only place we could do it. Ian, tell us about the 60th anniversary that's coming up.
Yes, so as I said, the Beatles came here in the end of January and early February 1967. So 2027 is going to be the 60th anniversary, which seems like a good point to mark and advertise what I think is an important piece of social history. So I've been talking to the town council about how we could celebrate that in 15 months' time.
That's fantastic. You've got an amazing website, The Beatles in Kent. We'll have a link below in the description. If people want to find out about booking this tour or more about the Beatles information, is that the best place to go?
Yeah, my email address is at the bottom. I mean, I don't run walks commercially or anything, but I do occasionally take other people round, and so people could join, and I could take them round if they want to. But there's also a very detailed description of a guided walk that you can do yourself, with a step-by-step guide about how to visit all the places that we've seen today.
If you can, though, get in to do it. It's been a fantastic tour. It's been an amazing day. Thank you so much for showing us around, and it's been brilliant. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.